Okay. Let me just make sure. Oh, good. Okay. Aloha, everyone. Welcome and good afternoon. My name is Thomas Daubert. I'm Executive Director of Friends of Kauai Wildlife Refuges, and it's a pleasure to see your lovely faces today, all ready for some action of learning about how we are facing the challenge of rod and having a really cool drawing workshop. So this is going to be a really unique one for us, and I'm really excited for all of you here in the room, and a warm welcome to everyone on Zoom and all the folks who will enjoy this after the fact. So thank you all for tuning in, learning, building community, and being a part of all we're doing here. So I'll do my usual little bit of PSA about the Friends group and a few programmatic updates, and then I'll get out of here and get us started with the fun workshop today. So again, thank you for being here for our Princeville Moʻolelo series. This is, of course, our collaboration with the Princeville at Hanalei Community Center, where we are working together just to build and sustain a community of folks who are interested in conservation and broader topics. So thank you for being a part of our ohana of supporters and friends. Who we are. Friends of Kauai Wildlife Refuges is actually the oldest friends group in the service, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, founded back in 1983, specifically to help support our island's 3 national wildlife refuges. And if you are not familiar, we will walk through those, connected with why, what gets us up in the morning every day. It's the preservation of these places that are so critical to the wildlife, the native wildlife that was here before us, and these species. Over on the wetland side, we have 2 of our oldest national wildlife refuges, Hanalei and Huleʻia National Wildlife Refuge, supporting native wetland birds. And this is one of the year where we're really bringing attention and highlighting the challenge faced by the aleʻula and the koloa. There are fewer than 700 of each of these species left in the world, and Kauai is incredibly important for their future. And the work in particular of the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service to help sustain Hanalei National Wildlife Refuge is absolutely critical. So this is really kind of our champion call to do what we can to bring more resources to them, in particular for these birds, as we continue all the other work we're doing as well. But in particular, I think more people just happen to know seabirds. And so we really want to elevate the awareness of these wetland friends and create some advocacy that we can also help support. So thank you for being part of that change. Of course, over at Kilauea Point, home of our beautiful 113-year-old lighthouse, but it's also one of the most important seabird colonies in the Hawaiian Islands. So really critical place for seabird recovery. And who we are as a friends group, what we can do. U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service is the agency charged with sustaining this work, and we are here to help them help fuel their mission. We do that providing funding, in-kind staffing support, and doing community outreach as we're doing today, just building, talking story, and creating awareness. Some of the pillar programs that we help support, wildlife rehabilitation. We're really honored to be able to help underwrite the cost of care for the sick and injured birds transferred from all 3 of our refuges. And doing community outreach, really starting with the littles and building awareness of these species and engaging them with some fun activities, talking story with families, and again, building a community of folks who are interested in this work. The other end of the spectrum of environmental education is, also one of the ways that we do environmental education is in particular underwriting the cost of buses to get young people to the refuge. We have team members like the lovely ladies over here, Patty and Louise, who help support our MOLI Life Cycle program, taking educators out into the classroom. But there's nothing like then the follow-up piece, which brings them, those 3rd graders, to Kilauea Point for a life-changing experience of being there at the refuge. For some of them, their very first time. And the cost of a bus is generally the encumbrance that would make that either doable or not. We remove that challenge and overcome that cost for them, and something we're really proud of. But as I was saying, the other end of the environmental education spectrum is our support of the Daniel Moriarty Memorial Scholarships. We're just in that process right now of having our board members review applications. Every year, it's so amazing to see these applicants these applications come in and to read the incredible work these young people are already doing out in the community, volunteering and being a part of work in different ways and sharing with us what their future is, how they want to be a part of this. And it's really our honor and pleasure, thanks to our supporters, to be able to help fund their education and be a part of the future of conservation. And last year we gave away $30,000 to 14 incredible young people. And the applications this year are just as exciting. So it'll be really wonderful to report back at our next Mo'olelo what we were able to help fund. In general, though, the real meat and potatoes of what we're here for is to find the puka, the holes in the budget for fish and wildlife, and help support that, whether that's helping to get a tractor fixed or buying supplies or underwriting a contract for something that they don't have staff to do. Whatever that's looking like, they come to us and the board once a month and say, could you please help? And it's an incredible honor to be able to say yes to those needs and help lift up their mission. In particular, the last year has gotten even more challenging through challenges at funding and staffing at the national level. And all of you have stepped up. The community has been amazing. And last year we were able to allocate over $200,000 in direct support to programs for fish and wildlife. It's just an incredible honor. And we couldn't do it without all of you. So huge, huge mahalo from the bottom of my heart. A couple of things I'm happy to update you on and share. These aren't the best photos, but look what's here. We've been talking for quite a long time. In fact, prior to my even coming to this work, envisioning the retaining wall at Kilauea Point to be able to accept some kind of story, some kind of visual representation of the work and this special place that is just one more way. As we're going to talk about today, art touches people, it engages with people, and is an incredible other way to draw people into this story. And so with this big, long, skinny, amazing piece of architecture here, what the creative geniuses came up with was to use this space to tell the story of how we're all connected through this lay of islands, all the way from Kure Atoll, all the way starting over here. And again, it's not the best picture, but they're really putting it in right now. This is like just from yesterday or today, all the way through to the Big Island. You can see the future hotspot of the next island peeking up here. All of this was a community-built project. Kat Ho and the Garden Island Arts Council were just an amazing, amazing, amazing partner on this project. And I'm really pleased to say that we were in a position to fund well over half of the cost of this, about $120,000 from the Friends Group to help create this amazing gift to our community. So you'll have to come back out and visit Kilauea Point and see for yourself this beautiful, beautiful mosaic tile installation. One of the ways to do that is on June 6th, Saturday, June 6th is World Ocean Day. And that day we're also going to be doing a celebration of kind of the public blessing and welcoming of this beautiful gift to our community. So mark your calendar, it's a fee-free day on Saturday the 6th. Reservations are still recommended just because of the small parking lot, but do please join us. Hi there, yes. It's the usual hours of operation, thank you for asking, from 10 until 4 with the gate closing at 3:30. So it's a traditional day, but we'll have, because it's World Ocean Day, a number of other conservation partners with their booths on out at the point as well, and we'll be joining out there as well. But in particular, this is really one of the things we're happy to celebrate. So anyway, very pleased to welcome it and very honored to play a role in it as a Friends Group. As well, I think I might have mentioned at the last meeting, or last one of these beautiful ceremonies, is that the lighthouse has been under renovation, as we know, and that work is just commencing. I think it's actually now completed, this phase of it, and we as well were really honored as a Friends Group to be able to come in. There was a grant Fish and Wildlife got for over $1 million to do this, what is really the second largest restoration of the lighthouse in its history. This time it actually included completely replacing the glass and these metal brackets of the lens room. And for the first time since it was built, they had to remove the lens, and that gave them an opportunity to clean it and restore each one of those incredible, beautiful little pieces of glass. So it was a much more arduous undertaking this time. But they were able to do that, replace and do some rust abatement around this platform here, and paint the column. And they, like many things in many projects, it ran over budget and they came up short. And we as a Friends group were able to step in with a kind of an emergency request of $65,000 to make sure that it got to a safe place and a good place to end this phase that included painting the whole column and putting a nice, good, beautiful sheen on it. So
Going to be functional again?
no, it's never going to be functional again. But I have to tell you, afterwards I'll show you pictures. The restoration of the lens, it's clean, and the glass outside of it is so much cleaner than it had been. And the LED light that they use inside of it now just for ceremonial purposes, it's super bright and really, it really is beautiful. As has become tradition on its anniversary, the first Saturday in May, which is Lighthouse Day, they light the lighthouse. And then they've been doing it, I think, on like Lighthouse Day, maybe International Lighthouse Day in August, and then oftentimes on New Year's Eve. So opportunities to celebrate this historic treasure, but the light is no longer needed, nor is it compatible with a seabird colony. So, but it's quite something, and I'd be happy to show you afterwards. So anyway, it's something where it's an absolute historic treasure for our community, and one more place where the Friends group is really honored to play a role. Again, couldn't do it without all of our beautiful community. So anyway, one more little update. Come out and check out and see the beautiful fresh coat of paint on the lighthouse. And if you're inspired by the work that we do, please visit us out at Kilauea Point, shop our nature store, where every dollar that's made there goes back into the mission of our Friends group and the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. Always looking for volunteers to plug in and support the mission of Fish and Wildlife. Donating and joining helps fuel all the work that we just talked about. Joining our email, where you'll hear updates of the work that we're doing, including more updates about the continuation of this series, which happens once a month. And just following us on social media, where we're really honored to go into spaces where the general public is not able to go as we volunteer, and to pick up some really great footage of the wildlife that we're here to preserve and protect, and share those with our community. So follow us on social media for that. So as I said, this is a monthly series. We're so pleased to just continue to find different topics to engage with our community. And we have a really fun new one to our series. Mike Coots, a community member who is an amazing photographer and has a really amazing story to tell about relationship and information and advocacy around sharks. And so that's whom we're going to feature next on June 16th. So mark your calendars for our next series with Mike Coots on June 16th. But today, I'm about to get out of the way here because we are so honored to welcome back Kim once again to our series. She was here a couple months ago with a different hat on. She's a multifaceted woman, and tonight we get to continue a really important conversation around rapid ʻŌhiʻa death. And like I said, I'm glad to see folks come prepared for a really cool activity here. But a few words about Kim, and then I'll get out of the way. Since moving to Kaua'i in 1999, Kim has worked as a freelance journalist and photographer covering conservation science efforts across the state, as well as in various outreach roles on behalf of Hawaii's native wildlife. In her capacity at KISC, she directs her energies towards helping save ʻŌhiʻa and the state, which is the state endemic tree of Hawaii, from the threat known as rapid ʻŌhiʻa death and other forest threats. So we appreciate you and all that you're going to share with us. And please, a very warm welcome to Kim.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you all for showing up here in the room and on the Zoom. Thank you so much for being here. Like Thomas mentioned, I'm going to talk a little bit about ʻŌhiʻa, which is our most abundant native tree in our forest, and one time was found Mauka to Makai, so would have been growing all around us on all sides of the island. And then I'm going to just do a brief update. Since the threat of rapid ʻŌhiʻa death in 2018 was discovered on this island, what we've witnessed as far as its impact on our forests. And then after that, I'm going to talk quickly about a new management tool that we have as a way to mitigate and save our ʻŌhiʻa trees, which is actually super exciting. It's the first time we actually have a tool that we can implement to protect healthy ʻŌhiʻa trees. So you'll get that in a minute. And then the second part of our evening, as Thomas has been alluding to, is we're going to do a little forest journaling, what I call. So one of the things that I do as part of my role at KISC is take people into the forest. And we do what a lot of other people around the world would call nature journaling. And so I encourage you to stay with us today for the second half, because we're going to be looking at and drawing our forest birds. And these are not the forest birds you might normally think of when we talk about forest birds in Hawaii. So that is to come. Those are the three topics that we're going to cover today. And what's great is I have about a 5-minute video that gives you the brief background on what ʻŌhiʻa is, why it's important, what this threat known as rapid ʻŌhiʻa death is. And the video does it in 5 succinct minutes, whereas I would probably take 15 to explain it all to you, because sometimes I go on tangents and stuff. So maybe a couple of you have seen this video. Again, it's short, so it won't take too long to go through, and maybe you'll hear and learn something new, even if you have already seen it. I think I have it there.
After a fresh lava flow, ʻŌhiʻa seeds, smaller than a human eyelash, find their way into cracks in hardened lava, becoming one of the first plants to take root, thus starting a new ecosystem. A biodiverse forest of tall canopy trees, understory plants, ground cover, ferns, and mosses. This multi-story forest pulls moisture from fog and catches rain as it falls, allowing it to seep into underground aquifers, the source of our drinking water. Forest vegetation also helps clean the air we breathe, and its leaf litter and complex root system hold soil in place, helping prevent erosion and runoff, ensuring a healthy ocean reef for fishing, surfing, and swimming. A native ʻŌhiʻa forest is more than just a collection of plants. It's home to birds found only in Hawaii, and native beetles, butterflies, damselflies, and tree snails, many endangered. Some of these species have rich moʻolelo stories connecting them to the people and places of Hawaii. Many co-evolved with the forest, creating symbiotic relationships with plants. Kaua'i, Hawaii's native tree snails, eat mold growing on ʻŌhiʻa leaves, cleaning them and providing greater surface area for photosynthesis, a process that generates oxygen for us to breathe. It's no exaggeration to say, almost everything found in our native forest relies on ʻŌhiʻa for life. Throughout generations, ʻŌhiʻa has touched all parts of life in Hawaii. Its strong wood is used for posts, flooring, and once hale, wa'a, ki'i, and kapa beaters. Its flower, lehua, used for medicinal purposes and woven into lei. ʻŌhiʻa are celebrated in hula, oli, and mele. ʻŌhiʻa is our most abundant native tree, and without ʻŌhiʻa, most of our native forests would be unrecognizable. Embodied in its very name, ʻŌhiʻa is the essence of gathering and collecting, as in moisture from the air, as reflected in this saying, "Kaua noe lehua o waiʻaleʻale," the misty lehua rain of waiʻaleʻale. A fungal disease known as rapid ʻŌhiʻa death is killing Hawaii's most abundant native tree. ʻŌhiʻa are infected through open wounds, possibly due to peeling bark, torn roots, or broken branches. Microscopic fungal pathogens enter the wound, and the fungus grows inside the tree, preventing the flow of water. The first external symptom is the sudden browning of the leaf canopy. There is no known cure, and after a few months, the tree dies. Then ambrosia beetles, nature's decomposers, arrive to break down the tree. They burrow into the sapwood where the fungus grows, releasing fungal spores into the environment through their excrement, which can blow to another tree or fall into the mud and be transported on shoes or vehicle tires from one part of the island to another. If these spores reach another wounded ʻŌhiʻa, the whole process begins anew. By practicing a few protocols, we can help stop the spread of rapid ʻŌhiʻa death. Before and after entering the forest, brush mud off your shoes and spray with isopropyl rubbing alcohol. Wash muddy vehicles. Avoid wounding ʻŌhiʻa. Don't move ʻŌhiʻa, dead or alive, around the island. Support the protection of remote and pristine forests. And most importantly, love ʻŌhiʻa.
Nice and succinct, right? It's right to the point. It hits on what I call the three pillars on why ʻŌhiʻa is important. It's important for our watersheds, the water that we all have to drink. It's important to a whole lot of other plants and animals in our forest ecosystems. And thirdly, you know, really strong cultural connections to our host culture here. And Thomas mentioned that ʻŌhiʻa is our state endemic tree. In fact, about 3 years ago now, a group of school kids across the state put together a legislative effort to have ʻŌhiʻa named the state endemic tree. Endemic meaning found here in Hawaii and nowhere else in the world. So the kids got to follow the whole legislative process and how they have a voice in our community. And they can have things like a tree given, you know, state status, if you will. So that was super exciting. ʻŌhiʻa is super adaptable. The reason why it once grew Maukata Makai and on all sides of the island is it does adapt to its new environments. As part of that, it will hybridize easily too. Again, making it easier for it to survive in a whole lot of different microclimates. Because we know that here in Hawaii, that is one of the things that makes us unique is the abundance of microclimates that we have here. ʻŌhiʻa can grow up to, they have the potential, I like to say, to grow up to 100 feet and live close to 1,000 years. That's not to say every single one does, because the other thing I like to say about ʻŌhiʻa is their superpower is quantity over quality. So they put out, each tree when it blooms, puts out hundreds and thousands of seeds. Each seed is smaller than a single human eyelash, but not every one is even fertile to begin with. So not everyone is even going to germinate. And even those that do germinate, you know, not all of them are going to survive and grow up to 100 feet or even live more than a year. But when you look at our mountains and on a really clear day and you see silhouettes of trees on the top of the ridge lines, they're usually ʻŌhiʻa. So I like to say they also like to be, you know, face into the wind, kind of like if you think about a hood ornament on a car, right? They can grow like this and they're just nose right into the wind. So they can be quite resilient. And as I mentioned, they are critical to our watershed health. They help prevent erosion. We've had some rain here the last week or two. And, you know, especially when it's raining Mauka, we see that chocolate milk ring around the island. Every time I see that, I kind of get sad because if we had more and healthier forest around the island like we once did, we would have less erosion. A healthy ʻŌhiʻa forest has high biodiversity. So you think of it not being a monotypic stand of a single tree species, but our healthy ʻŌhiʻa forests have canopy trees, understory, ground cover, mosses, ferns. The healthy ʻŌhiʻa forest is like a giant sponge. It just grabs moisture out of the air, holds it, allows it to trickle down and replenish our aquifers. So, and as we also mentioned, ʻŌhiʻa is celebrated in Hawaiian culture. And I share this slide because there's a whole lot of native species on this slide, many of which we don't really think about. I mean, there's the obvious ones like the ʻiʻiwi, but there's galls, which are native. There's kahuli, which is our native tree snails. There's these cute yellow-faced bees, native. Spiders and butterflies and dragonflies and crickets. And if ʻŌhiʻa were to go away and we were to lose ʻŌhiʻa, there's a good chance we would also lose a whole lot of other species as well. So that is why I do what I do, trying to raise awareness of ʻŌhiʻa and get everybody to care about ʻŌhiʻa, take care of ʻŌhiʻa. Because what we've seen happen on Big Island, unfortunately, with ʻŌhiʻa is this threat known as rapid ʻŌhiʻa death. So this is a photo that was taken in the Puna district of Big Island in 2005. Beautiful, all those big tall trees, those canopy trees, those are all ʻŌhiʻa. One second. But in about 2010, 2012, people started reporting the ʻŌhiʻa in their yards, because ʻŌhiʻa grows everywhere on Big Island, backyards, and the KTA parking lot, post office parking lot. But people started reporting their trees are suddenly dying, like seemingly overnight. And since then, all of these red and orange dots that you see on the map are all locations where ʻŌhiʻa have died due to rapid ʻŌhiʻa death. That's over 1 million trees. Over 1 million ʻŌhiʻa have died on Hawaii Island due to this disease known as rapid ʻŌhiʻa death. So that photo that you see here, taken in 2005, 10 years later, looks like this. And I was there last September in this very area. It's startling, right? It's very depressing. But you do notice there's a tree over here that does seem to be alive. And I'm going to talk about that in a minute more. But let's come back to Kaua'i. So in April of 2018, rapid ʻŌhiʻa death was detected here on Kaua'i, which surprised everybody because we are the farthest removed of the main Hawaiian islands from Hawaii Island. Folks were concerned about Maui since it's a hop, skip, and a jump away from Big Island, but somehow rapid ʻŌhiʻa death made its way here. And it was first detected, that yellow orangish dot, in the Moloa'a State Forest area. And since then, these are all the other locations where ʻŌhiʻa have died due to rapid ʻŌhiʻa death that we know of. We estimate that represents about 1,500 trees. And unfortunately, you can see it's pretty much around the island. The green in this map is where there's no ʻŌhiʻa forest. And you can see there's a heavier preponderance on the east side, northeast and southeast side of the island. Thankfully, those trees are at a lower elevation, what we would call like the mid-elevation mixed forest. The bigger concern that we have on this island is what's happening up here, right? These are Nepali ridge lines, but this is where we have the greatest amount of biodiversity when it comes to plant and animal life, as well as our watersheds. At this point in time, we haven't been inundated with a loss of trees. And in fact, these are how the numbers break down. So from 2018 to 2025, these are the numbers of rod detections, trees that have died of rapid ʻŌhiʻa death. And what you'll see is this was concerning, 2018, 2019, 2020, right? Because we see the trend line going up. But then you might be misled by this graph because it comes down again, right? And then it goes back up. Well, that primarily is 2021, 2022, 2023. Obviously, we all know what was happening in our world at that time. So we lost funding, we lost people, personnel. We were not able to get out into the forest and do as much monitoring as we had been doing. So this is misleading. I almost want to remove it, but we don't do that. But what is good is that we have in the last 2 years and now into this year, revived all of our work and our efforts and our monitoring. And we're not seeing the meteoric rise in the death of ʻŌhiʻa. Like what happened on Big Island and honestly continues to happen on Big Island. And we don't know why. We are looking into it, but we are grateful. And we have learned everything we do is a direct result of what has happened on Big Island. And there's a whole lot of science happening over there that we here on Kaua'i are benefiting from. Some of the management actions that we take place are on this slide. We're doing a whole lot of drone surveys. We do helicopter surveys on a quarterly basis. We just finished around about 2 weeks ago. We do sampling in the field. You have to actually take a wood chip sample that we send to a lab in Hilo that they do molecular testing to tell us, does this tree have the genetics of rapid ʻŌhiʻa death. We will fell a tree in certain circumstances in order to get the inoculum that's still in the tree, that's still living, even if the tree is dead. We drop the tree to try and get it out of the wind column. But that's not always ideal either, and we can't get to every tree. So we do a positive thing that we do is seed banking. So we collect seeds, especially from the more remote areas of the island. And we bank those seeds across the state, and that would be for reforestation purposes if it comes to that. But this last photo on the bottom right is the one that has us all very excited. It looks simple. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about it in 1 second. So hang on. We also do a whole lot of outreach, which is what I'm doing here today. We give away ʻŌhiʻa. We encourage everybody to plant ʻŌhiʻa. And in fact, 2 weeks ago, I think it was, ʻŌhiʻa Lehua Day, April 25th, we gave away ʻŌhiʻa. And we do that at least 2, if not 3 times a year. And the whole idea is grow ʻŌhiʻa. It once grew here in your backyard. It could grow in your backyard again. We meet with school groups. We do collaborations with businesses like Tamba, like Keoki's Paradise Restaurant and Duke's Restaurant. I'm doing something soon with the Hyatt. We do biosanitation kit giveaways because we want to encourage people to take care of the forest and not drag mud around the island, which is very hard to do. We have boot brush stations that have been installed at most of our trailheads, and we put signage out. So educating the public is just as important, especially when you're talking about a tree that currently is primarily in a forest, and not everybody gets up into the forest. So we have to do a lot of outreach to let people know about this, this disease and why ʻŌhiʻa is special. So one of the things, the seed banking that we do, we also do in greenhouse, so in lab testing of a whole bunch of different varieties and species. There happen to be, we talk about ʻŌhiʻa as if it's one species. There's actually 5 different species of ʻŌhiʻa. And within each species, there's different varieties. So there's anywhere from 14 to 15 different taxonomical categories of ʻŌhiʻa. And what's being done, again, in Hilo, is what we call the ʻŌhiʻa Disease Resistance Project. And they're purposefully inoculated different varieties of ʻŌhiʻa to see, is there 1 variety or 2 varieties or 3 that are more resistant to the fungal disease? So back to that photo that I showed you of the devastated forest in Big Island, there was that one that looked healthy. We're also looking at like growing out seeds from that tree and being like inoculating those to see, will they survive? So what's going on here? That project is a long-term project because ʻŌhiʻa do not grow, say, as fast as your tomato plants. And you start with doing lab testing and then you move them out into the field, into like a simulated forested setting. So it's a long-term project, but we're actually seeing good results. That work is currently funded by the U.S. Forest Service. So anything we can do to support the U.S. Forest Service, highly recommend. Some other science that's been really important for us to learn about, and this kind of came about through aerial imagery, so drones and other types of aerial imagery, like using helicopters, that we discovered in areas where there were no hoofed animal presence. By hoofed, we mean pigs, goats, feral cattle. Like ʻŌhiʻa inside this area where there were no feral ungulates, ʻŌhiʻa were healthy, they were surviving. And what was the difference though, is these areas are fenced, right? To keep those feral animals out. And literally outside the fence line, you'd see hundreds of ʻŌhiʻa that had died. So that's telling us a whole lot. That is just another reason to support our watersheds and make sure that, you know, if there is a fencing project, and there are several that are being considered for Kaua'i, that we support those. Because basically what's happening is the pigs or deer or cattle, whatever that, you know, might be in the forest, they are wounding the roots, the lower base of the trunk. And this is a wound pathogen. The only way for an ʻŌhiʻa to get infected is it has to have a wound. So that's what this science told us, and it was really clear. We have maps after maps after maps that reflect this scenario that's happening there. Okay, that brings us to the fun stuff, brand new, the natural beetle repellent. So this is Dr. Kyle Roy, based out of Hilo. As you saw in the video, beetles play a role in the disease cycle of rapid ʻŌhiʻa death. So let me just recap. Tree dies of rapid ʻŌhiʻa death. The fungal pathogen that's killing ʻŌhiʻa grows inside the tree, just behind the bark. So that first, where the hardwood is, where I call it the plumbing system of the tree. The fungal pathogen gets in there, colonizes, grows, chokes, and prevents the flow of water and nutrients from going up and down the tree. Beetles then do what beetles do. These are known as ambrosia beetles. They're super tiny, super tiny. They burrow into the tree because they smell, it's a pheromone, it's a scent, right? They smell the dead and dying tree. It's a stress tree. That's like a signal, come on, beetles. And beetles go in to do what beetles are supposed to do, which is break things down, decompose things. That is what they do. And they're good at it. But unfortunately, in this case, these ambrosia beetles are burrowing into the exact spot where this fungal pathogen grows. Once that beetle burrows in, they're kicking out frass, which is beetle excrement. That's your word of the day, Althea. Frass, F-R-A-S-S. And that frass can contain the live fungal pathogen. So that is then how the disease gets spread. So that frass can drop to the ground in mud. We move it around. Pigs can move it around. Other animals can move it around. It can also blow in the wind. So what this beetle repellent does is you basically use a caulking gun and a tube of what's called splat verb. And it's splat because when you put it on, it goes splat. And it's a bark beetle repellent. It's an all-natural repellent, and it repels beetle. So it keeps the beetle away from coming into the tree to release more of the fungal pathogen that could then kill other trees. So this is the idea, right? You have an ʻŌhiʻa tree. It basically, if you put your splat verb here, these blobs, just a blob that goes on the side of the tree, and it puts out its own scent, its own pheromone. And basically that scent is telling all the other beetles, hey, this tree's full up, there's no vacancy, go find your own tree. So it's repelling the beetles to go elsewhere. What is really cool about this is we can not only put it on trees that test positive for rapid ʻŌhiʻa death, so that stops the incursion of beetles and the release of more of the inoculum into the environment. But what we're also doing is a certain radius around the dead tree, we're going to the healthy trees and putting the same compound on those trees to just make sure those beetles stay away, right? Does that make sense? It's super simple, pretty cool. And it's a direct result of Dr. Kyle Roy's science that she's been working on for 5+ years. So to wrap up this section of my little talk, how do we continue to protect our ʻŌhiʻa forests? One of the things that on Big Island, there is a quarantine that they cannot move untreated ʻŌhiʻa logs and posts or any kind of ʻŌhiʻa off the island. That includes lei. That includes Mary Monarch, a whole lot of lei over there, and some people are still making lei with ʻŌhiʻa in it, some are not. But if you then wear that lei to the airport, the next day, HDAB is going to confiscate it because we don't want rapid ʻŌhiʻa death to leave the island, right? We don't want untreated logs. Now you can treat logs. Heat, high heat will kill the fungal pathogen. The other things we're doing is we were saying don't wound ʻŌhiʻa. So heavy equipment, pruning. If you have ʻŌhiʻa, I recommend not pruning it unless it is causing a safety hazard. And obviously the livestock and the feral animals are wounding, which I've already talked about. Third, we can also protect ʻŌhiʻa by following biosanitation protocols, which we have also talked about. Step one is remove as much mud as possible off your footwear. Don't forget your hiking poles. Don't forget your truck tires. Don't forget your backpack that you set in some mud. Don't forget the bottom of your pant legs because they get super muddy. All of that, remove as much mud before and after you go into the forest. That's the first step. And then the second step is to spray with isopropyl rubbing alcohol. It is the rubbing alcohol that will kill the fungal pathogen. And then if you have clothing, recommend washing it on a high heat and drying it as high as possible. If you cannot dry it in a dryer, sun solarization will also kill. So it's like 140 degrees Fahrenheit will kill that fungal pathogen. So those are just some things. Wait, there's a couple more. Don't forget your vehicles, clean those tires, clean under the wheel wells, get all of those pukas where that mud likes to hide. And then lastly is keep your eyes open. So if you like to hike a certain trail or go bird watching on a certain trail over and over again, what I encourage people to do is like adopt your own ʻŌhiʻa. Pick an ʻŌhiʻa along the tree that speaks to you for some reason. Every time you go out there, stop, take a picture of it. Nice to have a photo reference, right, over time, and make sure it's still looking healthy. If for some reason you see the sudden change from green leaves to reddish brown, that's when you take photos, you get GPS waypoints if you have those, or really good directions on where it's located, and that can be sent to me. So save ʻŌhiʻa at hawaii.edu is the email address. So those are some things you can do. And lastly, if you want to stay up on what's happening with ʻŌhiʻa, rapid ʻŌhiʻa death, and all of the activities and the events like this one that I'm doing, you can sign up for our newsletter. They go out periodically, mostly geared around the time of the year when we have a lot of events and ʻŌhiʻa giveaways, which we're just wrapping up right now. We had a whole lot of events in April, and our next one after today is this Saturday. And it's going to be the Lolu Love Fest. If you haven't heard of that, that is taking place at Lawai Gardens, which is NTBG's South Shore location. Day-long activities. We'll be doing Lolu walks. There's talks, there's panels, there's the dog team will be doing some dog demos. There will be discussion about CRB because coconut rhinoceros beetles are a big threat to our Lolu. Lolu are our native palms, endemic to Hawaii. Super special. And the garden is actually also giving away Lolu. So, and they're giving away Remota, which is a super special species of Prochardia remota. So then, now, are we ready to transition? Yes, Louise, do we have any questions?
I do.
Yes.
Do you know if any parallel research is being done on the idea of a repellent for CRB in the same way? Is that
Oh,
something?
why, yes, there is. Did everybody hear the question? Is there parallel research being done, like repellent research for CRB, coconut rhinoceros beetle, which is not involved in the ʻŌhiʻa disease cycle, but is involved in the Lolu disease cycle? This is a baby Lolu. Looks nothing like it in its adult stage. But adults are over there. There's 3 of them looking super healthy and happy. So to answer your question, actually, I was just in a Zoom early this morning. One of the reasons why I was a little late getting my presentation together. It's not so much a beetle repellent. There are beetle repellents, some natural, that are being used on the island. They have pros and cons to them, like everything. But the thing that potentially may have the biggest impact is a biocontrol. So that is in the works. Unfortunately, that process takes a long time. That is going to be 3 to 5 years out. Yeah. So again, that's for coconut rhinoceros beetles, which are attacking our coconut trees, our Lolu, our hala, our bananas, our kalo. What else are they attacking that I'm missing? Somebody knows. Hala, thank you, Althea. And the coconut rhinoceros beetles are about that big, maybe 2 to 2.5 inches. Ambrosia beetles that are part of the disease cycle for ʻŌhiʻa if you reached in your pocket and you happen to have some change, some coins in your pocket, and you pulled out a dime and you flipped the dime over to the back side, or I guess it would be the front side that had the president's head on it, ambrosia beetles are about the size of the ear on the president's head on a dime. So they're super tiny. Yeah. So we have kind of the extreme of the beetle situation here. Are there any other questions before I move on? And tell me too from Zoom. Yeah.
You know, I watched farms.
Yeah.
And I know that there were efforts to I see it really serious.
So the comment for the Zoom room is about the Himalayan ginger, which was once referred to as Kahili ginger, but we're not calling it that anymore because its true name is Himalayan ginger. We learned that when we call it Kahili ginger, people think it's Hawaiian and native, and it is not. Highly invasive, as you know. But so no, nomenclature and the words we use are important. In the question, there was a two-part to the statement / question. One is how invasive Himalayan ginger is, and how can ʻŌhiʻa or other native plants even begin to grow in an area where there's like a bed of Himalayan ginger growing. And the answer is they cannot, right? They cannot. And the second part of the question is, what's being done about Himalayan ginger in Kaua'i, if anything? And the answer is there is, absolutely. There's different organizations, KRCP, Kaua'i Resource and Conservation Program, target the Himalayan ginger. The Nature Conservancy, TNC, targets Himalayan ginger. And DOFA, the NEPM program, which I always forget, they sort of changed their name. Natural Ecosystem Program Management might be what NEPM stands for. All three of those groups do, to an extent, Himalayan ginger mitigation. The thing is, you're not seeing it because where they're doing it, it is in the highest priority areas. But yes, it's a problem and continues to be a problem for sure. Yeah. I'm sorry?
Are they digging it out?
Yeah, you have to. Yeah. Yeah.
My question has to do with Kaua'i as well. The very long, over a year-long project to resurface the end of the road there, and I spent a lot of time walking the road, looking at the birds, and I'm just curious, do the construction crews, whether they're state or county, do they have to answer to you or your colleagues in the methods that they use? Because I observed what I thought were a lot of fresh wounds on the trees along the road from this very large equipment that they were using, really disruptive, large mechanical equipment to remove all the asphalt, put it back down. Do they have to answer to biologists, entities, or I thought I saw a very clear high cut branches, low damage from vehicles, maybe driving into the trees by accident. Is there enough resources with your organization to interact like that?
Do I need to repeat that since you had the microphone? I'm good. Okay.
Thank you.
I'm very cognizant. And everybody in the room heard, right? The answer that I know, and I don't have the complete answer, is no, that is not really our kuleana, Kaua'i Invasive Species Committee. However, I do know that when businesses, organizations, entities get contracts to do work like that, built into the contract is information on protocol for how to handle that. And actually I do, like every 18 months I don't know, it's likely not that group, but I do training with like the Hawaii Department of Transportation. But that said, and I mean, are you sure that the trees that you saw wounded were ʻŌhiʻa? Okay. So if you see that, anybody, please take photos and feel free to send it to me and I can disseminate it out to others. Yeah, yeah. Save ʻŌhiʻa at hawaii.edu. I'm happy to push that along. Yeah, if that's happening. But thank you for being eyes. And we all need to have our eyes open to watch that kind of stuff. So yeah. Any other questions? Zoom room questions? Okay, I encourage you all to get your pencils out, have your paper handy, including the Zoom room, because I got you covered too, Zoom room. Haven't forgotten you. And if anybody needs paper and or pencils, anybody? We have some. Will you pass that back to the back table, please? So this is the part of the presentation that's more like a workshop. It's more casual. Honestly, I am not an artist. I'm not trained as an art school. I like to say that I facilitate the opportunity for us to tap into our creative sides. And like I mentioned earlier, I oftentimes usually take people into the forest or into a natural setting to where we can experience more of nature firsthand with our notebooks, maybe give some people some things to think about so that we can sit and explore. When I talk about nature journaling, which I coined forest journaling, we're basically talking about utilizing three things: words, numbers, and pictures to share on the page. It's not about art. It's not about creating anything that maybe you will ever even show to anybody else. What it is about is a way for you to connect more with the place or with the plant or with the animal. And hopefully in doing that, we learn, right? And oftentimes what happens on the page is it's like you're thinking on the page, or it's your curiosity that's being expressed on the page. I have a writing background, so my pages tend to have more words on them than somebody else who maybe has a more visual background. And then somebody else who has maybe a more scientific, so they use more numbers on the page, right? So it's all personal. It's meant to reflect, who you are. But again, it's there's this thing called neuroplasticity that we're all learning so much about. And some of us say, oh, no, I'm not an artist. I don't do art. I can't draw. Well, Louise, there is science that shows and proves that you can. So, and it's important for us as young people and as we age to continue keeping those neural pathways firing, growing, and changing. There's so much science that supports our health and well-being. What was that? Oh, I thought Althea was sharing. So that's why we're going to draw birds today. But no, not birds, shapes. So when we talk about drawing birds, what I have learned, because I have studied with some various nature journalers, and what they will teach us, and even Patrick Ching, who is one of our favorite artists who has work at Kilauea Point, one of the things they always talk about is like seeing what you're seeing, right? Like we think we're seeing a bird, but really look more closely and see in shapes. So for example, right now, you've all got paper, you got pencil. Let's see you draw that arc. And then let's see you draw that circle. Okay. How about a triangle? In Zoom room, I hope you're doing this too. And then how about some squiggly lines? Right? And lastly, maybe a rectangle. Okay? All right. You are all artists. You can all nature journal. You can also draw birds. This is all you need to draw birds. Okay. I'm going to share actually 2 methods tonight on how you might think about drawing birds. But what I've learned is there's lots of different methods. If everybody you talk to has their own different way of drawing. right? Their own system. Here's my tip. Try all the different ways, but create your own and then stick with it. Because what I have found is like if you can get it to where it's innate, to where you see a bird and you're trying to draw it and that bird is moving and it's shifting and it's flying, because, you know, we don't always have birds like, you know, taxidermied for us to look at in stationary positions. But if you can quickly grasp that bird and you have your own system for how you start drawing that bird, you'll be able to draw faster, quicker, and you know, you'll feel better about it no matter what it looks like. Okay, so that's what I mean by try all the different methods about drawing birds, but figure out what works for you and then stick with it. So you know when you sit down to draw a bird, how you're gonna start. What is that first mark you're gonna make on the page? So I mentioned tonight we're gonna look at forest birds. Oftentimes when we talk about forest birds on this island and across the state, we may talk about ʻIʻiwi, we may talk about anianiao, we may talk about akakiki, right? All of these are our passerines that happen to only survive now in the forested areas. But you know what? You know what else is in the forest? Nene. Anybody seen nene up in Kaua'i? Yeah, I've seen them on the cliff above Kalalau. I've been hiking in a bog off the board, well, along the boardwalk, and seen their footprints in the mud. You know what else is in Kaua'i, the forest? Kaua'i Maoli. Krista, tell us about the research that tells us where our koloa go to, that you were a part of.
Go to the upland forest and upper watersheds for nesting.
Repeat that for the Zoom room.
Kaua'i Maoli goes to upland forests and upper watersheds for nesting.
And then
That's awesome.
wait, don't go, Thomas. And then where might they go?
Oh, to ʻIʻa. Yes, sorry. I thought you got to cue me earlier.
All right. I'm like, keep going.
Yes, they also travel to ʻIʻa where there's a hypersaline water system that's ephemeral, so it's seasonal.
Is that not the coolest? Yeah. So when you think about our forest birds, there's more than just passerines. I mean, we love them and they're endangered. We got to care for them, love them, you know, do what we can to save them. But there's more than just the passerines up in the forest. So we have nene, we have Kaua'i Maoli. You know what I don't have a photo of for you tonight? They just left and headed north. Anyone? Kalea. Kalea will also be up in the forest. I often see them in the meadow. And anybody else? Besides, before we get to the other birds that are on the table, Pueo. Excellent. Am I missing anybody? Okay. So the other forest birds that we have fall into the seabird category. A'o and ua'u. And these two like to burrow, because they're burrow nesters, right? They like to burrow under ʻŌhiʻa, among the ʻŌhiʻa roots, and that's where they will lay their eggs and raise their chicks. So these are the four birds that I want you to think about today. We're gonna do a couple of quick exercises on how to draw a bird, and then I'm gonna put these taxidermies out on tables for you to draw, utilizing maybe, you know, some of the tips that you're gonna learn in the next few minutes. And for those in the Zoom room, I have some photographs for you to draw from. So please.
And before we move on, can you repeat the information about the event that is going to be this Saturday at Lawai Gardens?
Yeah, so this Saturday, May 16th from 10 to 4, Lolu Love Fest. So Lolu is our native palm genus, endemic to Hawaii, and we have a day-long activities, free entry into the garden. You park in the visitor center, South Shore Visitor Center, where you normally park, and you'll get shuttled into an area that's called Big Valley, where there's hundreds of lolu growing, all different kinds of species. The garden in the Lawai Gardens has like 700 and some different lolu growing there. They actually have living collections of lolu that are not found literally anywhere else in the world. So they are home to some of the last surviving lolu of their species. So cool day. Thanks for asking that question, whoever that was. Okay. First rule of drawing birds. That's why you have plenty of paper in front of you. You have to draw lots of birds. Lots and lots and lots and lots of birds. Althea, what bird is this? Albatross, yes. And oftentimes the albatross or the birds that you draw, you would be like, maybe looks good, maybe not, you know, but that again, you have to draw lots and lots and lots of birds, some good, maybe lots bad, before you get to one that kind of makes you happy, right? And for example, I thought I should share, be the first. These are some birds that I've drawn. I started nature journaling, I know, right? I had to turn that off because I don't need to look too closely. And if you're watching the recording later, don't pause it. Oh, look, nice, nice. Because there's some that have proportions wrong, the bills are funky, doesn't matter, right? The whole point is that we keep practicing and we keep trying. The other thing, the people that I'm currently learning from on how to draw birds that they will tell you is so important, and I have to break down and agree with them, is you have to learn the bird from the inside out. So we need to know the skeletal system. And I've just pointed out a few of them that are super important because, man, sometimes I'm staring at especially a moly, an albatross, and I'm like, how is your wing doing that? You know, and what is happening with those bones that are in there? So some key ones we like to point out, and look, wow, we all have these bones too, right? And of course, there's scientific terms for a lot of these, but I'm giving you like the human terms and the layman's terms, the ones that we use day in and day out. So on the wing here, you'll see the wrist, right? See the elbow, that's the shoulder joint. Here's the cray-cray one. So we oftentimes will see an albatross or lots of birds, and we see this funky looking, what looks like a backwards knee. Not their knee, it's their ankle. The knee is tucked up, like you don't see it. It's covered with feathers. And then that would be like the femur right here. That one tripped me out. I can't tell you. I mean, I do some seabird monitoring of albatross and have for years, and I would just stare at that. I couldn't figure it out. And then the whole wing thing, you know, like shoulders, elbows, and then how are they getting those wrists back like that? Anyway, learn seabird anatomy, and I would also say, like focus on a seabird or focus on a bird specifically. So like get to know the nene skeletal system, or the moly, or the ʻŌhiʻa, whatever it is, you know, choose your bird, right? And really study that one inside and out. And then on the outside of the bird, get to know the feather patterns. This is from Cornell Lab of Ornithology. They have a bird academy, which has some great programming and great educational online videos that you can watch. This has a whole lot more names of feather patterns that you probably need to draw, but the more you know, the better you'll be able to draw, because the last thing you want to do is like put in a feather mark that's going the wrong direction, right? But we're not going to worry about that right now, but this is something to think about as you move forward in your bird skills. Yeah. And some other things to think about tonight, what we talk about is going to be what we refer to as gesture drawing. Quick sketches, because you know, when you're in the field along a wetland and you're watching a Kaua'i through your binoculars or spotting scope, and you just start to get that first line on them, and what do? They move, you know, they turn around, they tuck their head down, they fly off, whatever it is. And now you're like, oh, now what do I do? So quick sketches to get started. And then the other thing too is air draw. Like before you maybe put that first line on the page, you know, maybe just air draw it over it, right? Light, sketchy lines, don't like press real hard. You know, maybe don't even have a fine point on your pencil. Sometimes having a stubby pencil is better because then you're not falling into the prey of perfectionism. If you're making circles or loops, don't necessarily close them all. Again, perfection. And then what we do typically is start with the bigger shapes and we fill in the details later. And lastly, as we talk about gesture drawing, don't erase. If you make a line that's wonky that you don't like, fine, just draw a new line. Leave the wonky one there. Don't worry about it. There will be plenty of wonky lines. And then the last tip is don't be a naughty. Now, I mean, we do like naughty birds, but this references, like if you're watching a bird, you're studying a bird, and you're like this and like this and like this, you lose it, right? So you want to really, the first thing you want to do, and we're going to do this tonight, study a bird. Spend time just looking at the bird, making notes, either mental notes or Jack Laws, who I've studied with, he tells people to say it out loud. Black head, black stripe down the back of the neck, black ringlets going horizontal across the neck, white eye patch around the eye. I mean, literally saying those things out loud, because then you'll remember them. But yeah, the tip is not to do that. So let's draw. Let's start right now, our first bird drawing, and you've got lots of paper, you've got pencils. Do you need a pencil on the back?
No.
Okay. It's gonna be super easy. We're drawing shapes, remember? This first line is our posture line. So the body, the posture of the body. Second line, oh, everybody got that first line. I know it was a tough one. Second one is the body. We're gonna draw an oval. Again, nice, loose, you know, don't press too hard. You don't need to make a perfect circle. You could overlap your circles. And then you're gonna draw the head ball. Look, it's already starting to look like a bird, right? So you can think about the head ball that comes on, right? And then we're gonna draw the eye-bill line. So this is the direction your bird is looking. This will help you make sure that you get everything in the right and proper place. And then you're gonna draw the eye, which usually sits above the eye-bill line. Usually, not always, but usually. And then you're gonna draw the bill. You can draw whatever shape bill you want. This was just the shape that my Canva platform gave me. And then we're going to draw the tail line. Is tail going straight out? Is it going down? We have our friends, the shama, oftentimes pops their tails up in the back. Next step would be, we're gonna smooth it out, right? So we're gonna maybe make these connections here. Maybe there's a chin line that goes into the chest, the back of the head. You might even put some wing elements in here. So maybe there's where you see the oval of a wing or the hint of a wing. And then you may also play the, think about your tail. What's it doing? Is it wedge shaped like a shama? Maybe it's shorter than this one. And for right now, there's no right or wrong, because this is our imaginary bird friend. Whatever you do is perfect. Althea, you need anything? Yes, do it now, my friend. Everybody. And then don't forget the legs. You can barely see them here, but pop some legs in. And think about leg placement as like, where's the center of balance for this bird, right? And some birds, the legs are farther forward if the weight is farther forward. Some birds, it's further back. And we know our crazy seabirds here, like Kaua'i, they have some legs that are so far back on the body, they really can't walk on them, right? They just sort of use them to push out to a ledge and then they fly off. So it's built for paddling, yeah. So before I click to the next, we're gonna do it again. So we're gonna go back. Remember how I said we're gonna draw a lot of birds? And here's the other thing you can do. Use the same piece of paper, it's fine. Or a new piece of paper. And if your piece of paper gets too crowded, I have other colored pencils. You can just start drawing over the one that you already have. This is, again, practice. We're just having fun and trying new things. Colored pencils. You got colored. Okay. All right, you ready? We're going to go again. See? Beautiful. First is your posture line. Now you're going to draw that oval, the body. And maybe take a little different, either posture line or, you know, the body is a different shape and a different position because the posture is in a different position, right? Now add your head ball, you know, or maybe you've got a bird that has a longer neck. This one tends to be like passerine-like, right? How you doing, Louise? I see the pencil moving. Yes! See, she's a perfectionist. Okay, add your eye beak line. This is where your bird is looking. Now, some of these lines that you're drawing later, you may erase, right? This is like your guidelines. This is your foundation. Okay, now add your eye and your beak. Whatever shape beak you want. Lots of different options on that front. And then we're going to add your tail line, and then fill in your tail. Fill in, there we go, your other smoothing outlines, right? The chest, the back, maybe put some wing indicators in. Sorry, I got interrupted, so I wasn't able to add a 7th or an 8th stage or step to this one. But everybody getting that? Althea, how many birds have you drawn? Go for a third. So here's the idea is this becomes innate, right? So you see a bird, you draw their posture line, now you draw the body shape, and now you're doing the head. All of this in these steps that work for you to where it just happens. You don't have to think about it. Any questions from the Zoom room? Or Patty, are you too excited with your drawing to pay attention? Yeah, sorry, Zoom room. There. Oh, let's hear it. Comment was?
For anybody that is going to the Lolu Festival, the Love Fest, please wear closed-toe shoes. You
And
can't wear your
closed-heeled shoes.
And closed-heeled, no slippers.
That must be somebody from NTBG making that comment.
I don't think so. They were.
Oh, yeah. Oh, thank you, though, for reminding me. Yeah. So in order to get into the garden for safety, uneven ground, roots and stuff, closed-toed shoes, closed-heeled shoes, please. No slippers, Sharon. Okay. How many birds? Who's got 3 birds? Who's got 4? Krista. So, you know, the more you draw, I mean, this you could be doing while you're waiting for your coffee to brew in the morning. Just keep doing this. Okay, are we ready to take it to the next level? Wait, okay. Okay, finish your 4th bird. Tell me when you're finished. Who's been through this process before? I suspect there's a few people who have, yeah. Yeah. We got to start though, right? We all start together. Okay, how many do you have, Althea? 4? Fabulous. All right, we're going to move on. Excellent. Good job. So this is, ooh, will it start automatically? David Sibley, who is well known for his bird guides across the country. He's published numerous books. Sibley's Birding Basics is one of his older ones, one of his more well-known ones. Plus he's got like a US East bird guides and the US West bird guides. Plus he has this book, What It's Like to Be a Bird. So he's pretty well known in the birding world. He also has tree ones too. He has tree guides. Unfortunately, most of the stuff is based on the North American continent. Doesn't take Hawaii necessarily into consideration. But a few years ago, I think it was during COVID actually, he partnered with Cornell Lab of Ornithology and he did a series of how to draw fill in the blank birds. There's like 10 of them you can find on YouTube. So if you just Google, and at the end of the presentation today, I do have links to this series as well. He calls it Sketch with Sibley. And they're each anywhere from 5 to 6 to 7 minutes in length. And who besides Krista knows what bird this is? Arctic tern. Oh, Althea, did you know? What? Arctic tern. Yeah, good job, Sharon. Okay, ready? fresh piece of paper on this one, I would recommend. And he's going to talk you through this. I am not. So it's like taking the next step up from what you just did.
Hello, I'm David Sibley, and today I'm going to show you how I draw an Arctic tern. For drawing, the most unusual thing about terns is that they have extremely long wings that end up folded up, sticking out behind the body. We'll start with an oval, nearly horizontal, and over towards the right side of the pig.
Can you see that? It's pretty light. Did I hit pause?
Hello,
I may have hit
Today I'm going to show you how I draw an Arctic tern.
that there.
They have extremely long wings that end up folded up, sticking out behind the body. We'll start with an oval, nearly horizontal, and over towards the right side of the paper, you have to leave room for the wings. The head is a circle balanced on top of the oval. And for the wings, we'll start right under the head and then draw a curved line following the lower side of the body and continuing all the way out more than twice as far back as the body. And then complete that oval back to the front. We won't use all of that
Thank you.
oval. For the bill, draw a straight line coming out of the middle of the head, and then slightly curved line coming down to meet that to form a long, narrow triangle. If you imagine a line coming out of the middle of the bill, back into the head, the eye is on that line, just forward of the middle of the head. Now we can fill in the outline of the head. Terns are even more streamlined than most birds, so a very smooth line from the bill over the top of the head and from the lower part of the bill down to the chest. Just smooth curves. I'll add some details around the base of the bill, curving back to just under the eye and then forward again to the lower corner of the bill. Terns in the summer have a black cap. That black edge comes right from the base of the bill right up to the eye, and then down behind the eye, curving down the back of the neck. We can color that all in black. Dark eye, all black on the cap. I use cross-hatching, lots of parallel lines going in different directions, and start with the darkest part, and then as you add lines in a different direction on top of those, that area will become darker. Give you a little bit of shading. And we can smooth in the back, coming down the back, leaving a little bulge just behind the oval of the body. And to the underside of the folded wing, darken that long curve coming back behind the body, curving up and then just tapering back to that bulge at the back. Wing coverts, tips form a diagonal line across the wing. Leading edge, the bend of the wing where the feathers overlap, a little notch, and then the gray feathers of the back curve up to the back of the neck, and the back feathers form an oval patch overlapping the inner edge of the wing. Now we can add the contour of the underside of the body, which curves up sharply and disappears under the wing. We can add the second wingtip as a very narrow, slightly curved point just above the near wingtip. The tail, terns have very long forked tails, and all that you see in this pose is just two very long, thin feathers sticking out from under the wings. You can sketch in some details of the wingtip the long primary feathers, so parallel lines along the lower edge of the folded wingtip, and then diagonal lines for the tips of those feathers. You add some shading along the wing coverts on the forward part of the wing. Shading on the lower edge of the back feathers. Add a little bit of shading on the chin. And shadow on the underside of the body. So now we'll add the legs. And the bird is balanced over its feet. In this case, most of the rear part of this bird is just very long feathers, long wingtips, and long tail. And those weigh almost nothing. So the balance point is quite far forward, actually just behind the head. So you want to put the legs right around there. And we'll have this bird sitting on a rock. And a little shadow cast on the rock. There is an Arctic tern. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'd love to see what you've created, so please share.
Okay, how'd you do? Everybody hold up your, if you wouldn't, no, you did not. Fabulous. I like the red or the black cap. Nicely done. I love seeing everybody's hands moving, including Louise's. Look, Louisa's still drawing. Look at that, woman. She's still drawing. See? Yeah, Louise. There's many, like I said, there's like 10, I want to say, different birds that he does. And if you want to do these at home, what's great is you can pause it, right? And if he's going a little too fast for you, or sometimes you just want to watch it all the way through and then sit down and go through it again. But we're running out of time, so I don't want to do that. Take up too much time on that one. Let's see what I have next on my. Okay, so now we're going to look at some of our taxidermy birds. So what is cool is that we have birds that are still that we can look at up close and personal. So what I'm going to do is, I think I'm going to, Sharon, if you might move back to the table, and then I'll have one here, and maybe you guys turn around and you can share this bird. What I would start doing, and we're going to turn it so everybody will get a view of it. But for now, let's leave it like that. And spend a couple minutes right now just observing the bird. And you know what? You know, if you want to say anything out loud, or if you want to write notes down, you can do that. Hi, sweetie. Okay, I'm going to put this one here. So you're going to have to turn around. Sorry. Yeah. So make make an inventory. Was that yours? Kaloa, yeah. Kaloa Maule and Nene. That's our Hawaiian duck. Only like 600 or 700 left in the world. Oh, thank you. I keep knocking that one off. So start off by making an inventory, right? Before you start to draw, you're just going to study the bird and note anything unusual about it. And make notes or verbally say it out loud, your choice. Is that close enough for these two?
She said put it.
There. Yeah. And we'll start off with it in the position that it is right now. After you've spent a couple minutes observing, it's probably the closest up close and personal you've ever been to either one of these two birds. And then we're going to spend 5 minutes. And you have options on how you want to do this. Do you want to do the quick sketch like the first exercise we went through? Or do you want to spend a little more time with it? You might do both. You might do like a quick rough sketch. Think about, again, shapes, not necessarily drawing the outline of the bird, but drawing the shapes. So what's that posture line? What's the body shape? How's the head positioned? So it's 6:30. I'm gonna let you guys do this till 6:35. How does that sound? I'm loving that everybody's just, thank you. I was gonna bring her a bird. You've already done it. Nice.
It's probably fine with that.
Keep doing that. There. Okay. Zoom room is good.
Oh, it's a Zoom room.
Actually, you know what I forgot to do for our Zoom room, folks? I'm so sorry, Zoom room. I forgot to advance. Zoom room. Here's your nene. That's your taxidermy model. It's a photograph. So Zoom room, that's who you get to draw. And I've got more for you too, so there's more to come. Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm gonna come around and move your bird. Because you know what? It just woke up, it was having a nap, and now it's like changing position. So this happens in real life, right? So what do? Just start over. And sometimes it might just mean drawing over what you've just drawn. And if you're bored of that, not all over again. Yeah. You could do a page of just the head, right? The head and the bill. If you want to focus in, maybe do a little more detail. I mean, how often do you get up close and personal with these two birds? So dip in a little more. Do you want it closer, Althea? Yeah, but this close? Sometimes maybe. Every other day, okay. But note where the nostril is, right? You can see. Nice, yeah, you can. Okay, I'm gonna Zoom room. I'm gonna advance your slide. Are you gonna freak out if I do that? Oh, you are. All right, I'll give you one more minute. Or till 6:35. Louise, did you move your bird? Your bird is moving. Your bird looks great. Her bird's very cute. It's always the ones who complain the most, right? Think shapes again, right? Shapes, not necessarily birds. You're looking at find a shape in the bird that is familiar to you, that you feel comfortable, right? That way, when you're looking at a new posture that they're in, a new position, or a brand new bird. I did a bird drawing workshop in Scotland last year, and like I knew nothing about these birds. I spent one whole day just looking at them through a spotting scope. Okay, Zoom room, you're moving on. You've now got the Kaua'i. Isn't that a sweetheart? And of course, those of you in the room, if you want to use what's on the screen, that's entirely up to you. But I am now going to move some birds around in the room. So, sorry, stealing your birds. Okay, there's your new bird. New bird coming in. New bird. Bye-bye. Bye. Is that one close enough, Althea? Do you want me to move it closer? Louise, you better wrap this one up. You can. There, you can have a. If anybody wants to add a plant to their bird study, these are some of our forested plants. Anybody know what this is? Zoom room. Anyone? Yes, please do guess. Do you need a closer view? Whoa. That is definitely they do have a similarity. I will acknowledge that. It's ʻŌhiʻa. Of course it's ʻŌhiʻa. That's ʻŌhiʻa. There's lots of different varieties. Yeah. I know, right? No pom-pom, no lehua to throw you off. This is these are all forested plants. This is ʻŌhiʻa. Not our best specimen, but we just gave away like 100 of them at ʻŌhiʻa Day. So we're kind of low on our plant supply. This was Lolu, which we already talked about. This is Sertandra, highly special, found in the forest. It puts out a tubular flower, which, what kind of birds like those? Honeygree birds, exactly. Yeah. Anybody want to take a shot at flying birds? Okay, we're going to turn this guy around. And then we're going to turn that one like that. They'll get switched around. How are you doing, Louise? Have you moved on to Nene yet? Or you're still on? Oh, look, how mean of me. I moved it. Okay, you're good? Okay. She's done now. I can take it. Okay, who knows our seabirds? Althea, what's this one? Newell Shearwater. Fist bump girl.
She corrected me on it. She went to kindergarten field trip and I had a wedgetail and a Newell's and I had them on and she raised her hand and corrected me.
Well, at least she raised her hand. Yeah. So that is Newell Shearwater, also known as ʻAʻo, which means this one is ʻŌhiʻa, which is our Hawaiian petrel. Both of them are highly endangered. The vast majority of the population is found in the high forested regions of Kaua'i. And unfortunately, population numbers are declining and have been for a while. Zoom room, you're getting a new bird. There's the ʻaʻo. That is the Newell shearwater, the ʻaʻo. Thank you. We have the bird call coming out. Here, do it into my microphone, Althea. No? Oh. Oh, you were, okay. That is, oh, that one is the, let me double check. I got to see the face. That looks like ʻŌhiʻa too. Yeah. No, see the head's different. That's the ʻaʻo. Let's compare the head. See how smooth, oh, sorry, I moved it. Putting it back. No, I'm the one who said, I won't move them. Me too. Oh, thank you. Beautiful. You were nice. Evie. Oh, look what that is. That's ʻŌhiʻa, lehua.
Those are both for you.
Oh, they both are. Thank you. Mm. Okay, so my question for Thomas is, these taxidermy birds are so special. Like we have not, I don't feel like we've spent enough time with them tonight because we had a lot of stuff going on. But would it be possible to maybe schedule a time to come visit them in the lower VC for the people in this group? Maybe a couple others that might want to come and draw them?
We could make that happen, yeah.
You think?
Yeah.
Would anybody be interested in that besides me? Althea, Sharon, Molly, fabulous. So if you want to know when that's happening, you better be on my newsletter mailing list. Because I'll probably, that would be the best way for me to announce it. Okay, Zoom room, got a new one coming. ʻŌhiʻa.
And as well, anyone will make sure just to let me know.
I'm sorry?
This is just for that.
Yeah.
We're just drawing.
You're already
That
on
was
mailing
the
list, so yeah,
ʻaʻo.
then I'll make sure.
Which is the Newell shearwater. This is the ʻŌhiʻa, Hawaiian petrel. Yeah, remember that head shape. This is great for learning your birds too, right? Like forced drawing is you're seeing them. You're not just looking at them. Drawing forces you to see them.
And looks like a duck. Not a duck.
Oh.
It looks a lot
Here's
like that.
Thomas's clipboard. Oh, great. And then pass it over here. Yeah. Do you guys need me to move this guy? Now you're like that. The bird moved. This one's going to move too.
Oh, sorry, I wasn't drawing. How would I?
Okay, well, still going to move. Nice. Nice. Do I need to move these? Or did you move them? Do you want me not to move them? I me too. I'm just trying to, because this is how, this is how it is drawing in the field. You get started on one and then they move and then you might wait for it to circle back around and find that same position again, or you might use your binoculars or spotting scope to find another one in the colony if you're lucky that might be in the same position. But oftentimes what happens is you start and you stop a lot. Do you want a new one? You haven't had Kaua'i. I'm going to bring you Kaua'i. Oh, well.
That was the one that looked at.
Well, there's two others sitting there, so. Here you go.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. I just took it. I'm so sorry. It flew away. It flew away.
It's scrawny neck.
Nice. Oh, oh, yes. I
Yeah,
love
the other one is even prettier, but its neck is all the way scrunched
it.
down.
Great luck with it.
The other one that we have.
And it. Did it come with a set of watercolors?
Yeah, so it's the pencils.
Oh, it came with the pencils. Watercolor pencils. Oh, love watercolor pencils. It's adorable. This is like for an adult. And look at her. Oh, I love the wreck.
Like, you want to see my G'day
G'day day?
Because that's a gecko.
I totally see the gecko in that. See, I love it. Okay. I know we're running over, but it seems to be engaged. So I love it. So where do we go from here? Just some thoughts and ideas to share. What you can do with what you're doing today would be to make study pages in your journal. And by study pages, I mean, you may have a drawing of your bird, and then you might have numerous poses of the same bird on the same page. Or you might decide to do just bird parts. You know, maybe you just have head and the bill, and maybe you have a series of bills. Maybe you're looking at their feet because you want to study their feet. So you get their feet from different angles, looking up, looking down, you know, pointed to the left, to the right. And then you can add call outs, like start to think about, this is a rare opportunity to see these birds this close, to figure out their feather patterns. Which one are their flight feathers? What are their secondaries? What are their coverts? Primary coverts, secondary coverts. What are the scapulars? And then you could do a study of just the face and identify the feathers and the feather patterns just on the face of a nene, right? So these are things you can do. You don't have to draw the whole bird. And then what I like to do in some of my journals is, you know, I make a drawing and I'm like, oh, you know, I got the head too bulbous or something. Write that. Make a note, what I call it, make a note for your future self. So that the next time you're flipping through your journal and you're going to draw this bird again, you're like, oh yeah, I got to remember not to make the head too bulbous, that kind of thing. That's what I mean by make notes for your future self. And the other thing, if you're going to go out into a colony and you're going to do some journaling and drawing birds, start off observing, right? 3 to 5 minutes just observing, saying out loud what you're seeing. Try to find something you've never seen on that bird before. Maybe you make a whole list of them in your journal. And then do some rough timed sketches, the gestural sketches, you know, a 5-minute, then do 3-minute, then do a 2-minute, and then do a 1-minute, right? And just get your hand moving. The faster you do some of these, the less the critical brain gets involved. And sometimes that's when the line looks, the most intriguing or interesting. So timed exercises. And then take advantage of the resources, which I'm going to show you on the next page. And we already talked about this one. Let's maybe meet again with these taxidermy friends of ours and get to know them a little bit better at the refuge, so that Thomas doesn't have to carry them up here. And they can stay in a nice air-conditioned room. And we can see the mosaic. Oh, we have a special field trip planned. I already like it. So here's some resources that I've used to make today's presentation, and also people that I've studied with. So David Sibley, I mentioned him. The video that we watched is the Sketch with Sibley video on YouTube. For those of you who are in the room, if you want to take a photo scap, a screen cap or a photo with your camera. If you're online in the Zoom room, you might want to take a scap. of the screen capture. John Muir Laws, I've studied with extensively. And in fact, I'm one of his nature journal educators. I went through his program for that. I've been on 2 retreats with him, one in Nebraska with sandhill cranes and another one in the Sierra Nevada mountains in California. He has hundreds, and I am not exaggerating, of videos on his website on nature journaling and a lot on birds, drawing birds, specific birds, how to draw owls, how to draw raptors, penguins, puffins. So he's like, and he has the Law's Guide to Drawing Birds. So if you want to go deeper, this is the book. And if you want to flip through this, feel free to flip through it. And then this is another great resource, Bird Pixel. He's actually, Vivek, I think is his first name, and he's a friend of Jack Law's. And he has a website with hundreds of photographs of birds, beautiful imagery of birds. So you can go in, and he's kind of got them categorized by maybe waterbird, seabird. You can put a search in, and I've done it for our lovely lace and albatross. And he has, I mean, many of us have beautiful photographs of lace and albatross here on Kaua'i. But I just kind of wanted to see, what's he got? Got some great photographs. And the thing with him is anybody who works with Jack, he says you are welcome to use and draw from his photographs. If you happen to publish something or win a prize for something, it's always nice to recognize him as the source photographer. And then lastly, I'd like to recommend the Cornell Bird Academy. They have lots of videos that I mentioned, and they have at least 2 how to draw bird video classes that you can take online. So those are some resources. Lastly, I'm going to put the QR code for my newsletter up there again. So that's how you keep in touch with events like this one, Lolu Love Fest, ʻŌhiʻa Lehua Day, ʻŌhiʻa Love Fest, but it's about, and all of the future forest journaling workshops that I have going on. So that's it. Thank you so much for being here, participating. I love that you guys were engaged, and drawing makes me so happy. I was afraid there would be nobody in the room tonight. And I thank the Zoom room folks for being here and hopefully participating too. So Thomas, Louise, thank you so very much for hosting as you normally do. And how are we doing on the Zoom room? Okay, good. So no questions we need to answer? Fabulous. Thank you.
This was so fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you all. Okay, you close this.